Hey everyone, this is Chris at Service Autopilot. I wanted to take this opportunity to show you a sort of year in review of all of the new functionality that we have brought into the system in 2014. We have been hard at work all year to bring you the functionality that you need, both existing and prospective members of Service Autopilot. And so I wanted to show them to you. I know we haven't always done a great job of revealing new content and showing you new functionality as it comes out. So a new focus of Service Autopilot this year and moving forward is going to be showing you that new functionality on a more consistent basis and just communicating to you better exactly what we're doing on the development side of things here. So sit back and take a look at everything we've done here in 2014. One of the biggest improvements we've made over the year has been working on the user interface. We've moved to a much simpler and much more condensed menu system, putting everything under one of 5 categories, which has accomplished a couple of things. It makes the system feel much smaller and much easier to learn quickly, as well as being much more friendly on touchscreens and tablets. Another thing that we're working towards, and we've done a lot of work already this year, is making the system feel more customized to you. We've given you the ability to change the color scheme of your interface. As you can see here, I'm using a bluish color scheme, moving away from a solid, green and gray interface the way that our old system used to be, as well as giving you some favorite functionality where you can save off not only favorite clients that you want to check on quite often, but any screens within the system that you find yourself going to frequently, you can now save those into a favorites menu option. Another interface improvement has been adding a much more diverse and dynamic filtering system, and this will only get better over time. It's been implemented in a few screens now, but it will begin to be implemented across all screens in the system. Here I am in the client page. I now have, I think it's over 50, I haven't counted them, but it's quite a few different filtering options, and we can use a combination of these filters here. So let's say I wanted to filter down to only my customers in Dallas, and we'll add one more filter here for people that have a balance greater than 100. And now we can search for that and get a return of our clients. Another great thing about this is an improvement to the basic marketing system that was at one point in time contained into its own screen and didn't work with your client filters at all. But now we can send marketing emails straight from our results here by coming to Actions and selecting Marketing. I can now send any of my stored documents or type one up on the fly to these 13 clients that I've got saved off. Another piece of this is that if I need to check this list of clients often, if there's something about these filters that I need to go back over and over and over and over again and always look at them, I can now save this screen as a custom screen view. And we'll just call this my custom view and save it. And now I can always come in and recall all of my set filters here. So even if I had 10 or 12 filters combining with each other, I could easily recall them. One of the development highlights for Service Autopilot in 2014 has been the new mobile application. In previous versions of Service Autopilot, field staff would access their system through a mobile website, which presented a number of problems, not the least of which was having a bad signal in the field. We've now moved to a completely dedicated mobile app that's available for all Apple and Android devices. And as you can see, it's got a nice slick interface here with some really cool functionality beyond just your basic job clocking in and out. It includes signature capture functionality, charging credit cards, as well as capturing images from the field and attaching them to the job. Along with the new mobile application, we've implemented a new GPS system, and this is a basic GPS system that uses the new mobile application's location services on the phone itself. So it's not something that you're plugging into your truck necessarily, but it is very accurate. As you can see here, I'm on the dispatch board, and I'm zoomed in pretty close, and these are all GPS points that I've received for one of my employees. And so you can ping them up to every 25 meters. That is the shortest distance in which you can ping them, but you can back that off a little bit if you want to reserve battery power, or if you're just not interested in getting updates as frequently. But here is one screen that we see some GPS data, and this is more of a route-based. Here is another screen in which you can see GPS information. In this screen, we're seeing more of a real-time location of your different trucks. And in this example, I only have one truck, as we can see here, but in this view, you would see this icon for every single truck, and it would be color coordinated by the user settings. Outside of our new mobile application, perhaps the biggest update and enhancement that we've made to Service Autopilot is to our estimating system. They are vastly more powerful than they were in the past. Here we are looking at a new estimate and Service Autopilot. You're now allowed to do things such as adding packages, which wasn't available before this year, to add packages to your estimates. We also have a new method of calculation, so this interacts much better with your custom fields if you're quoting based on square footages, or if you're quoting based on number of rooms, or fill in the blank with whatever information you use to create your quotes. We have now split that out into its own separate calculation field, to where you can also have quantities as well as whatever that calculation number is. And you have to be a Service Autopilot member and have used this estimate system before to really understand what I'm talking about there. But it allows for a large number of scenarios for how you're going to quote to a client. We also have estimate templates. This is something that was highly, highly requested. Not only do you have your document templates, which is actually the body, the attachment of the estimate, the PDF itself. We've always had that, but we've now added templates for the actual data that goes into the estimate. So rather than adding one line item at a time, if there are a group of services and products that you generally quote together, then you can save them as a template and pull them up with one click. And all of your information, including pricing, is already filled out. We've also made a massive improvement to the way you calculate cost on estimates. We still have the ability to add specific job costing items, such as equipment rental or paying a project manager or something like that, but we've also added in the ability to calculate overhead, and that can be fixed or variable overhead. And that's going to be mostly used with some more advanced users. It's not required of you to use an estimate and Service Autopilot, but if you do want to calculate overhead, then Service Autopilot can now help you do that. And that's just a handful of modifications that have been made to this screen. This has literally been one of the biggest projects we've worked on all year. I could spend an entire hour or two walking through all of the differences and improvements of this screen. As you can see here, you can now create purchase orders straight from estimates, and we'll talk about purchase orders in a minute. One of the biggest points of feedback that we received from our members in 2013 is that we didn't have enough reports. We weren't giving you all the reports that you needed. And so we've made that a focus in 2014 to completely change the way that we do reports, number one, but also provide you with a huge number of reports. And I'll show you a couple of things here. Moving forward for the rest of this video, what I'm going to be showing you is technically still in beta, but it is a open client beta, so any Service Autopilot member can have access to this functionality, but we are still making some modifications to it, so it might look a little bit different as releases go out. Before, we had one general report screen, which is still accessible from this link here that says reports. Once this is out of beta, then this reports menu will go away, and it will be replaced by the links that say try beta underneath each category. So as I was saying, before we had one general report screen, we've now split up all of your reports into categories. And so you can access them under the various menus. That way you're only getting reports related to that item. So I'll just click try beta under CRM. And this is just one example of how we've vastly improved reporting around estimates and lead sources and tracking your sales. I mean, just this number alone, this is almost the total amount of reports that we had in 2013, and now we have just this many reports in CRM. And then the reports under scheduling and accounting are almost as big. So we've probably added about 50 new reports this year. And another piece of that that's important is internally in the background, we've changed the way that we build reports. We've implemented a new system and some new technology that allows us to build reports much, much, much quicker. Building reports at one point in time was one of the largest sources of manpower in terms of our development team that we had to dedicate. And now we can get reports out literally in a couple of hours. So it's going to be vastly improved from here. And if there is a report that we don't provide at any given time that you're needing, let us know. And the chances that we can build it are much, much quicker than before. Another piece of reporting that's new, under my home screen, I'll go to try beta. We now have a different type of report that we call analysis. And essentially what these are just really large data dumps. So I'm about to show you the job costing one, and we have general job costing reports in other parts of the system, and those will probably work absolutely fine for you. But for those of you that are real number crunchers and you really want to customize what data you're seeing, these analysis reports are going to be for you. So what I'll do is I'll pull up, let's look at a random month. Okay, so now we have our report here, and as you can see, compared to previous job costing reports, there are just a ton of different fields here. But not all of you are going to want to see all of these. So what's different about these analysis reports is that you can now customize exactly which fields you see. This is literally just a data dump of every single thing that's related to a job. And so I can go into this layout button and select exactly which columns I want to show and which ones I want to hide. Along with this new reporting, there's also new dashboard functionality. You'll now see in all of these analysis reports a button that says Add to Dashboard. So this can be the actual report itself. You can create a chart of some type out of the data that you've created or the data that you selected here, and then you can add that to your dashboard. So also under the home screen, there is a link at this point that says Dashboard. This is our original dashboard, and a new link called Dashboard Beta. Again, this will be replacing the original dashboard once it's out of beta. But under our new dashboard, it works more like a modern dashboard that you would expect. You can completely customize this. You can drag various reports around the way that you want them to. You can create your own custom tabs here, so you can categorize different views of the dashboard. We've given you a couple of examples here, and you can also create your own unique tabs as well. This functionality is very industry specific to fertilization and weed control companies, but this has been over time probably the most highly requested thing that we add, and that is chemical tracking. So I'm not going to show you, this could take 2 hours to show you everything with chemical tracking as well. In fact, we are currently running a webinar a few times a month that is the door into getting to be a part of the beta testing for chemical tracking. So again, anyone can do it, anyone that's a member of Service Autopilot, but we require that you take a webinar before we turn it on for you. So give us a call if you're interested in doing that, and we can get you signed up for the next one. But I just wanted to show you the settings screen for chemical tracking to show you all of the things that you can customize with this. Everything from creating customized mixes of various chemicals, changing the different area units that you would spray on, the different amounts of volume depending on if you are tracking things in terms of liters or gallons or ounces or whatever you're using to track, as well as areas treated. So this is going to allow a little bit of diversity in terms of the companies that can use these. This is not just for fertilization and weed control companies, but also pool cleaning companies as well, pest control companies. And then once all of the settings are correct, when you're scheduling your services, there's a new screen, or a new overlay, I should say, on the dispatch board that allows you to track those chemicals and enter the amounts used, the temperature, the wind speeds, things that in the past we were giving you the ability to print sheets for your technicians to fill out, but now it's all been made digital and you can log it directly in Service Autopilot. This information is also accessible via the mobile application, so the technician can modify it themselves if necessary. And then, of course, probably the most important part of chemical tracking is the reporting behind it. So I only have one job here and not all of my data is filled out, so I apologize about that. But this is the chemical tracking report that you would need to run if you were ever audited for this and you needed to send your chemical information to somebody. This report will give you the date, client, and all chemical information over a defined period of time, including the applicator's license number if you had one inserted, the wind speeds and directions that we entered before. And as you can see, this is, like I said, this is still in beta testing, so there are some things that are not perfect about it at this point, but we're still working those out. So as I said, please give us a call if you're interested in becoming a part of the chemical tracking beta testing, because it is an open beta. One of the more recent updates that we've made is a new integration with Google Maps. So there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with this. Among them is the ability to measure your client's properties. So here I am in the client screen. Under my More menu, I now have this option that says property measurements. So I can click on it, and now I can click and draw on my customer's property, and then it saves that measurement. So here we go. Square footage is 4,200. I can now add a description for this. So we'll call this house size, and I can select a color that I want to represent house size. We'll make this one black, and then I can add it. And now something that I can do here is go ahead and apply this 4,200 square feet that we just measured. I can go ahead and save that as a specific custom field. So let's say that I hadn't measured the house, I had measured the turf itself. Then I could simply just select turf square footage there and save it, and now my custom field value is saved. And I can create as many of these as I want. So let's say next I want to measure the entire lot. So we'll call this one lot, and I'll just go ahead and measure around this. So now I have a new layer. That one's called lot. And again, I can save that as a custom field. As you can see here, the screen says Save Geofence. This functionality here is the first steps necessary for us to allow geofencing via mobile phones, meaning you can set a parameter to where your technicians or your crews automatically get clocked in, or maybe you want to receive a notification, or the client wants to receive a notification as soon as the crew arrives on the property. You can automate that using geofencing. Now there's still some work to be done on this piece, the geofencing. So this is not available yet, but hopefully we'll see that more developed in the first couple of months of 2015. But this is the first step necessary to allow that. Another really cool part of our new mapping functionality that's related to marketing is creating leads straight from the map. So here I am on the client list, and one thing that I can do here is draw around a certain section of my map. So let's say I'm interested in targeting this little quadrant of the city here. So what it does is it filters down to all of the existing clients that I've got in that area. So let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so let's focus on this area right here. It looks like we only have one client in this neighborhood. So maybe I want to target the people that live on this block for a direct mail campaign or door hangers. What I can do is come in here and just control click all of the houses that surround this client. And then I click this button here that creates leads. I can add any tags that I need to, and then save. And then I just added 12 leads to my database. So then using those tags, I can market to them effectively. The last new feature that I want to show you is our new sales campaigns module. Now this is going to mostly revolve around prepay letters and upsell letters. But let me walk you through how you would create a new prepay campaign. Now I know that when you do this manually using spreadsheets and Microsoft Word and things like that, this can take literally hours, days, weeks. I've seen it happen. With Service Autopilot, it takes minutes. So I'll click Add a Campaign, and we'll describe this as a new prepay. And I'll be jumping ahead, fast forwarding, just so you don't have to see me type all this data out. Okay, so what I've done here is use the new client filters to filter my client list down to only customers that have at some point received general maintenance but have never received general installation. So now I'm going to create a prepay letter that will act as a renewal or prepayment letter for this general maintenance service, but then we'll upsell general installation. So I'll go to my next phase. Here I select the jobs that I want to include, the existing jobs that I want to include. So we'll put general maintenance there. I can do a rate increase if I want to, either by value or by percentage. So let's say we're going to increase our prices by 2%. And then let's move into the upsell portion. Now we want to upsell, let's say we'll show up to 2 upsell services. And let's say we wanted to upsell our general installation service. So we'll drag this over. And we can choose how we want that pricing to work. We can either have it say call for quote, or give just a default flat rate across all customers, or use our rate matrix to look for custom fields that are related to our general installation service. For this example, I'm just going to bill flat rate, $100 for every general installation. We can choose a format, and we have, looks like about 10 or so prepay formats we will be adding to this list as time goes on. And you'll receive more descriptive names than just format A. Again, this is in beta testing still, so this will be improved over time. Any custom messages that we want to include. Then in the last phase of our prepayment campaign, we can have the system automatically tag all of the people that we're sending this prepayment letter to, and I can create any tag here that I want. I can also have this action remove any tags that I want. Okay, so let's say that we want to discount these services if they prepay. So we'll discount the 2% price increase for a prepayment. And we'll leave our upsell discount at $0. Okay, so now I'll click Generate. And it takes us some time to gather that information and compile it into the actual PDF document that you'll be downloading and printing. At most, it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to generate. So when the time comes that you actually want to print and fold these documents and mail them out, you can download your PDF packet here and print it as you normally would for your prepayment campaigns. So that's all I wanted to show you for this specific video. As I said before, I know we haven't always done a great job of letting our members and prospective members know what we're doing with development here, and that's a big goal of ours for 2015. So this is the start of many posts like this, many videos that will be showing you new functionality as it comes out, and we're also launching a new monthly newsletter that will lead you to these posts. So they won't always be 25 minutes or so, however long this one ended up being. They'll be much shorter than that and more specific to individual functions within the software. So please check out the blog. If you're viewing this way after the fact, check out the blog. We've probably added a number of videos since this one, and you can get a good update on new functionality as it comes out, as well as information about signing up for training for these features. So thanks for taking the time to watch. 2015 will be an even better year than 2014 was for us. So we're happy that you're a member of ours. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the suggestions. It's been extremely valuable in putting the software together over the years. And so we hope that you find these improvements satisfactory and continue to give us feedback. Thanks.